And for more on this, we're now being joined by, from New York, a lawyer and political commentator, Mark Mirowitz, who is a professor at the State University of New York Maritime College. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today. Let me begin by asking, it's interesting, from the last time we have now Kamala Harris, who is now debating Trump. First for Kamala Harris, seventh for Trump. What are you expecting?
It's very hard to know what to expect. As far as Kamala Harris is concerned, we don't know where she stands on any issues because she doesn't give any press conferences. She does rallies, and it's a very unusual election. I know you compared this in your explanation to all these other elections, but this one's unique because we had candidate Joe Biden, and suddenly he was not the candidate. And suddenly Kamala Harris was the candidate, and she never ran in a primary, and suddenly anointed as the candidate. It hasn't been very long, and she's now going to be debating Trump, who was a sitting president. So we really don't know what she says, what she means on various issues. And in fact, what we're seeing is changes in her positions on the border, on fracking, on Medicare for all. So we don't know what she stands for. I think we know what Trump stands for. So it's going to be very interesting. And I mean, it's correct to understand that it's going to be a personality aspect as well in the debate.
Sir, absolutely. Even though there is ambiguity when it comes to policy issues, we have seen how the last presidential debate between Trump and Biden completely flipped the strategy for the Democrats. Now we know Kamala Harris has gained quite significant momentum and support ever since she took the baton from Biden. We are seeing her go into the debate with significant support that she's gained over the past month or so. Trump, on the other hand, has been, of course, mired in legal challenges. He has also raised issues with the rules of the debate. That being said, how do you think both are positioned coming into this debate?
I mean, the legal challenges, every single legal challenge against Trump has gone absolutely nowhere. A number of the cases, like the cases involving the judge in Florida, dismissed the case. The Supreme Court found that the president has immunity. The Georgia case fizzled out completely. And now in the New York case, the judge has postponed the sentencing till after the election. So there's nothing going on there on that side. And as far as the other side, and I think it's very relevant to understand that 93% of Republicans support Trump. And as much as the Democrats want to show that they're surging, I don't believe they're surging. I believe what you're seeing is relief on the part of Democrats that Biden is no longer the candidate, because that was going downhill to disaster for the Democratic Party. Harris comes in, we don't know what she thinks, but she does a great job at the rallies, at rallying the troops, using generalities, but never nailing down the policies, and attacking Trump. That's the key to the Democratic strategy, is to attack Trump and never explain their policy. And I'd like to turn in a moment, I'm going to ask me about all these endorsements. I'd love to talk about those too. Cheney and the fact that Bush is not endorsing. I think that is meaningless in the scheme of everything. And I think if you'd like me to elaborate, I'd be happy to.
Right, exactly. I was actually going to come to that because, of course, this has become a big issue. Now, Bush has endorsed anyone, and another, as you mentioned, Dick Cheney, another Republican, has gone for supporting Democrats. I would like to elaborate on that.
Well, first of all, Bush endorsed McCain and Romney against Obama, but he did not vote for or endorse Trump or Hillary Clinton. He did not endorse Trump or Biden. So nothing surprising about Bush. He's a former president. He doesn't want to be involved in politics. The one thing he did was to write in Condoleezza Rice, who was the Secretary of State, who I admire tremendously. I think she's one of the great Americans. But that was just a point of showing his affection for his former Secretary of State. As far as Cheney is concerned, Cheney the father and Cheney the daughter. Look, there's bad blood between the Cheneys and Trump. Why is that? Because Cheney voted to impeach Trump when she was a congresswoman. She was on the January 6th Select Committee that was looking into the tremendous insurrection, called what you want, invasion of the Capitol. And most importantly, Liz Cheney lost her primary to a Trump-backed candidate. So she is very, very unhappy and doesn't like Trump. So I don't agree with this point that Harris makes that Cheney is so courageous because she has country over party. Are you kidding me? First of all, Cheney is really not a Republican at this point. She's something hovering between a Democrat and an independent, but she's definitely not a Republican. She speaks like a Republican. She says she's conservative, but where does she fit? In America, there's party politics. You're a Democrat, you're a Republican. She is not a Republican at this point because the candidate of the Republican Party is Trump. And now she's coming in and trying to undermine him. And as far as the father is concerned, Dick Cheney, I mean, you know, a fascinating case. Watch the movie Vice and you'll see a very famous movie about all the things that Dick Cheney was involved in, the war in Iraq, the war in Afghanistan, all sorts of things. So I don't think, if you really boil this down, that the electorate, that the people in this country are going to look at this and say, oh my, the Cheneys have taken a position on Trump. They don't trust him. They don't think this country can trust him. But at the end of the day, it's very personal. Trump basically and Cheney are antagonists. That's American politics. But please don't elevate this to a matter of deep principle and deep morality, because it's not. It's pure party politics, and they want to be on the winning side, and they think Harris is going to win, and when Harris wins, then maybe Cheney will be in the cabinet for Harris. I mean, this is what we're talking about here. This is not a matter of principle. I don't think so. I don't think so.
All right, Mr. Merowitz, thank you so much for sharing your perspective on this with us. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you. I enjoyed it.
Thank you so much, sir.